right, it is the day of the Flaming Dragon here at Crain and Company. Thank you guys for making us a daily watch. To my left, former Michigan quarterback David Cone. And since it's Friday, and he's not sick anymore, we all know to who is sitting on my right.
Get it right!
Just play it.
This is Flaming Dragon!
I just wonder if it's Tourette's.
I'm a drag.
It's something.
It's a little
That's
bit
your brother.
But people with Tourette's can win. Michael Phelps, Eli Manning. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
2.5.
Wow.
2.5 today. I don't know why, but they're giving y'all leeway on this Friday, and I'm not a fan.
I actually take that as disrespect.
Did you just say Michael Phelps, Eli Manning, I'm a part of that group?
Yeah, a little Tourette's, but can win a lot of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get the weekend started as we play who has a better roster for the Super Bowl. Should Jaxson Dart be drafted before Shedeur Sanders? And does Coach Calipari deserve a warm welcome on his first return trip back to Lexington? All right, Dragon, tell him about the poll in the chat.
All right, Chad, hit that subscribe button. If you donate, it's on topic. It will get read on this Flaming Dragon Friday. We're going to have multiple polls today where you get to decide the winner, and all your donations, if they're on topic, will get read. At the end of the show, they will all get read. David, I think we have something special today.
Ooh, it is Friday, which means we're taking your calls on the Hot Take Hotline. 60 seconds call in. Those lines are going to open at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central, 1-855-236-3228. Set your alarm right now and call in.
Can't wait to hear from you. All right, let's let the dragon breathe today on Crain and Company. Rawr, I'm a dragon. In football, 90% or more of the time, the team with the better roster is going to win. It's just the truth. That's why it's the ultimate team sport, and why roster construction and stability is one of the most important things that a coach must focus on. But if there's one team that has consistently defied losing to superior rosters, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying the Chiefs don't have a really good roster, because they do, but ask yourself this. Is their overall roster better than what the Eagles have? I don't think so. We're going to discuss in a second. Is their overall roster better than the Ravens? Probably not. And when healthy, you can make a case that the Lions have a better overall roster as well as a couple other teams. But the Chiefs do have that special clutch sauce. They have that secret blend of herbs and spices. And it seems every time it gets tight or their back's against the wall, they find a way to win. They've done it with star players and nobodies. They've developed draft picks and hit it right in free agency. Even when the opponent plays clean, the Chiefs find a way to win. After all, their two opponents so far in the playoffs have both outgained them and not turned the ball over, yet they still lost. Plainly put, Kansas City does more with less than anyone else in the league, and I think the Bills are a close second. But once again, the Chiefs are most likely going to face a better roster with talent littered all over the place, yet most people feel as the Chiefs are the team to beat. And I can't wait to watch it live with all of you during our Super Bowl live stream next Sunday from Mission Cigar and Social. Coney, obviously want to get you and the Dragon's thoughts here, but before we get to y'all, I want to put up, we have a graphic here. Let's go ahead and throw up the graphic. It's position specific between the Chiefs and the Eagles.
Yeah,
so before we get into whose is better, I'm going to tell you the positions, because we have special teams and coaching at the end. So quarterback, running back, tight end, wide receiver, offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, defensive back, special teams, and coaching. Let's start with quarterback, Coney, Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. I mean, this one's pretty easy.
Sounds pretty easy, right? Quarterback, so go ahead and put that check mark up there. Running back seems just as easy to me. I mean, I love Isaiah Pacheco. I love some of these guys, but
Kareem Hunt's been a good piece, but come on, they got
Saquon Barkley's working his way into being one of the greatest backs we've seen in a generation.
Without a doubt. So let's go ahead and put a check mark by the Eagles at running back. Flaming Dragon, tight end. Look, we love us some Dallas Goedert. All right, I think Alcantara is not a bad player.
Underrated.
But Travis Kelce, you can make arguments the greatest tight end of all.
Yeah, I mean, the only knock on Travis Kelce is he's dating Taylor Swift.
Which, I mean, if that's the knock.
And he's getting older. Like, he is getting older.
Like,
but you still give him the nod, right?
Yeah, he's a better player.
Yeah.
But I think Dallas is extremely underrated. I don't think he gets talked about enough. He kind of gets lost in this Eagles offense, but Travis Kelce is a better player.
Being underrated doesn't get you a green check mark on our list, though.
Yeah, that's true. But you bring up a good point. Why does Dallas Goedert kind of get lost? Well, you look at wide receiver, and we love us some Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
All right, he's obviously done a heck of a job coming over the Chiefs. Outside of that, we can talk about some of the ancillary pieces they have, but, I mean, look at the Eagles. You got A.J. Brown. You got Devontae Smith. I mean, even I think Jahan Dotson's a nice piece. I think this one's as easy as any of them. So let's go ahead and give a check to the Eagles there.
And it's like Rashee Rice being out, obviously that hurts. And the Chiefs wide receivers are perfect for what they want to do. I mean, we broke down the man coverage beater that they have at the goal line with Xavier Worthy and all that. But when Devontae Smith is your number 2 guy,
for sure,
you're loaded.
That's exactly right. All right. Now, the two most important positions outside of quarterback, offensive line. All right. Again, I think this one's pretty easy, guys. Eagles probably have the best offensive line in the league, or at least you'd have to put them up there in the top 2. So let's go ahead and give it to the offensive line. The D-line here at first, you'd be like, yeah, probably would take the Eagles, and that's who we ended up going with. But I will say, if you were to break it down between edge rusher and interior defensive linemen, I mean, you have Chris Jones there on the inside for Kansas City, who's one of the best in the league, even though Jalen Carter, even Milton's done a good job. But overall, I mean, when you look at Sweat, when you look at some of these guys they got coming off the edge, I mean, heck, Cone, Brandon Graham's even better.
Brandon Graham's practicing again now. Again, like he was the hero of the Super Bowl when the Eagles beat the Pats. Is there a case to be made that Chris Jones could be the best overall defensive lineman but still give the nod to the entire unit for the Eagles?
I think that's probably most likely, the right choice. It's the right way to go. And look, I love Nolan Smith, and we've talked about the Alabama and Georgia pipeline, obviously to the Eagles, but Chris Jones, to me, just because of what he's able to do, not only stopping the run, but to put pressure in the interior on the quarterback. His pass rush moves are elite at that size. His ability to run things down from the backside, his ability to two-gap, and Jalen Carter's been an absolute stud. He's been a menace. But I do think, Cone, Chris Jones can be the best defensive lineman, but Philadelphia probably has the best, in aggregate defensive line.
I wonder if Chiefs fans want to argue that point and disagree.
I think there may be a logical argument to it. I think you could. Now, linebacker, especially since Nakobe Dean went out, but even if Nakobe was playing, I mean, you look at Nick Bolton, man. I mean, some of the cat, even,
I think this is closer than what a lot of people think when it comes to both these linebacker rooms. I feel like both these linebacker rooms are extremely good, but what puts the Chiefs over the top, I think, is Nick Bolton. That's what makes him, not only from a captain of the defense standpoint, if you go back to his college days, Nick Bolton has a knack of just being where he's supposed to be every play. He has great feel. I think he has the best feel when it comes to linebackers in both these matchups. But both these linebacking cores are extremely good, but Nick Bolton is what takes the Chiefs linebacker core over the top. So that's why I would lean a little. It's close. It's for sure close, but I would lean Chiefs.
Yeah. And then you go to DB. I mean, look, we've talked about how much we like McDuffie, but you look at the numbers, and again, guys, I've got them, and I've kept this sheet all week for a reason. The Kansas City defense against the pass, you're 19th in the league, giving up 220.6 a game. You're 19th in the league in opponent completion percentage. Then you look at the Philadelphia defense. I mean, you're number 2 in the league in opponents pass yard per game at 184.9. That's a pretty big jump. That's almost a 40-yard difference between the two. And then you're number 3 in the league in opponent completion percentage given up at 61.83%. So just in aggregate, when you look at the Eagles, I think you got to go with this secondary.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't pick against Cooper DeJean. I don't know. Of course. I don't know what you expected.
The exciting whites. And I mean, Quinyon and some of the other guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think Slade Jr. doesn't get talked about enough, too, in the secondary for the Eagles. You want to talk about a leader and a captain of the secondary. Like, that's the guy you want to do that. And Slade Jr., I think the Chiefs I think McDuffie's one of the best in the league.
He's nice.
I think Reed is nice at safety. Hell, he can either kick off. We've seen that happen. But I think in totality, I think the Eagles' secondary is better.
And then you look at special teams. Speaking of kicking off. And special teams doesn't get talked about enough. Jake Elliott, very, very talented player. Really good kicker, pretty reliable. I know he missed that 54-yarder against Washington early, but he's been pretty reliable overall. But Harrison Butker, I mean, he's a bucket. Just an absolute bucket. And he's a guy that comes through in the clutch. He's the Chiefs' version of Vinatieri to me. Now, I know Vinatieri hit probably more game winners in big moments than Butker so far, but I would feel better. I think about this in the light of, and you look at, the punting units as well. But when we get down to field goal, I would feel better if my team was trotting Harrison Butker out there to hit a 50-yard field goal to win it than Jake Elliott.
So check mark for the Chiefs there, and then coaching. I mean, you got to go.
You got to go, right? Andy Reid.
So put that one up for the coaches too. Now, usually in situations where a team is more talented on the offensive line, the defensive line, at defensive back, running back, and wide receiver, they win most of the football games, right? But this just shows you how heavily weighted the quarterback and the coaches are, and Kansas City wins both those categories. So much so that I want to bring up the stats from the last time these two teams played in the Super Bowl. Even Jalen Hurts, right? Okay, so Patrick Mahomes a better quarterback. We give a check mark for the Chiefs. Here are the stats for Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. 27 of 38, 304 passing yards, 1 TD, no interceptions, and 3 rushing touchdowns. Did have a crucial fumble in there, I understand, but still, those are typically good enough. Those are good enough stats for you to win a football game. Let's go last year, 49ers. And I want to ask you guys how you think the 49ers last year stack up, because I think a lot of people said they had the best roster in the NFL last year. Here's even Brock Purdy, right? 23 of 38, 255 through the air, threw a touchdown. Again, no interceptions, no turnovers. They lost by 3. Both these teams lost by 3. I did a little digging here. Here's Ben Roethlisberger's stats from 2006 when the Steelers won their Super Bowl. He was 9 of 21 for 123 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The Steelers beat the Seahawks 21-10. It's a new era.
No, it is a new era, but to me, that's an even bigger compliment to the Chiefs. Like, dude, it's not like you're putting your guys are putting up Roethlisberger numbers, and you're like, yeah, the Chiefs are going to win if you put up those numbers. Jalen Hurts, bald. But like the margin for error, you can play really good, but that one fumble, you can play really good, but that 1 4th down, you don't get it if you're the Bills.
Yep.
It costs you. They literally make you have to hit every big shot, it seems like. I mean, guys, in last game, the Chiefs turned the ball over. They were the team that turned the ball over in a big moment going in to score. So I'm just to the point now where it's like, what do you got to do? Like, what do you got to do against the Chiefs? Do you have to everybody's got to play so much better than they normally do that you overwhelm them? Or you just got to hope? Just hope that Mahomes plays bad.
Got to play perfect.
You got to play perfect.
Chiefs, and this might sound crazy, but the reason the Chiefs win so many games is they've mastered and figured out the way just not to lose games.
Well, part of that's penalties, though.
Yeah.
But when they don't get called for penalties, everyone just says, well, the refs never call them for penalties.
I feel like certain things about that are true, but I do think we can sit here and say that Patrick Mahomes have gotten a certain amount of calls because of who Patrick Mahomes is. I feel like every league protects their superstars in certain ways. I feel like we could come to somewhat of an understanding on that. But the Chiefs just don't beat themselves.
Yeah.
Right? They don't lose games. And when you go into a football game and you don't turn the ball over and you don't get a lot of penalties, you don't make mistakes on special teams, and everything is tight and knit up, you will win a lot of close games. You really will. That can be the difference, especially if you watch football or been in coaching and look through the Chiefs through this year. That had 7 one-possession games that they won. And that's coaching and that's discipline. So in my eyes, they just found ways not to lose games, and that's the reason they win so many.
It's that secret blend of herbs and spices, man. I'm telling you, it's the KFC moment.
All right, you ready to get to the chat?
Yep.
Let's get to it. All right, chat, remember, you hit that like, you hit that subscribe button. If you donate, it's on topic. It will get read. We're going to start the day off with a $5 donation from D-Max. Appreciate it. Says, guys, I can't believe we're going to disrespect the Chiefs' defensive line like this. Karloftis is watching.
I like Karloftis, too. Again, they have pieces. And this isn't a one team's bad and the other team's, just good. I just think the sum of all the parts for the Eagles' defensive line, from the exterior to the interior, tilt it just a little bit. But you know what? If there was one on there that I could see changing, if I had to pick one, it would be defensive line. That's what I think.
Let's go to a $2 donation from Stewart7. He says, fellas, I'm surprised you didn't have a box checked for the refs, and you know which way that would go.
There you go.
Look, we're not trying to waste y'all's time. We know exactly where we put them. Don't let this game come down to a controversial call. If it comes down to a controversial call and the Chiefs win, we'll never hear the end of it.
Let's go to a $3 donation from Shock. Appreciate it, Shock. He says, guys, don't forget the big thing about the Eagles' special teams is they create turnovers, have created multiple this year. That could be a big piece in the Super Bowl.
It could, but if I'm the Chiefs and I'm sitting there looking at that, because don't forget, I believe Washington fumbled a kickoff against the Eagles. They've done a really good job in punt coverage. If you're Kansas City and you don't want to play scared, but why don't I fair catch every kick? Why would I even give them the chance? Why would I? Because they do a great job of punching the ball. Now, the fumble they forced last time, that was just a helmet to the ball, which I guess is a way of punching it with your face if you want to use that. But I could say, I get it.
Let's go to Sleepy Pillow. What's up, man? He says, one big key in this game will be the Eagles' run game. The one thing about this Chiefs team, they will give up a lot of yards on the ground. If I'm the Eagles, I play the possession game.
See, I mean, do we consider being ranked 9th in the league, giving up 106.7, like a lot on the ground? Maybe against this Eagles offensive line, they might, and you may be right, they might. But I think I'm more worried, as crazy as this sounds, about the Chiefs stopping the pass. And not vertically, it's the short and intermediate stuff. Because, again, Philadelphia's offensive numbers, it's a conniption. They're first in run. They run it the most in the league. They throw it the least in the league, yet their completion percentage is 8th in the league at almost 68%. That's pretty good for a one-dimensional team at the end of the day. But all right, let's get to the poll.
All right, poll. Who has the better roster, the Eagles or the Chiefs? Little lopsided here, fellas. What y'all think?
I'm going to say probably Eagles.
If it's lopsided, I'll go Eagles.
Yeah, Eagles 75%, Chiefs 25%. That is just wild.
All right, before we get to Punt or Go, I want to let you guys know this episode is sponsored by our friends over at Acorns. Acorns is a financial wellness app that makes it easy to start saving and investing in your future. You don't need to be an expert either. Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that matches you and your money goals, and you don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you get started with the spare money you've got right now, even if all you've got spare change. So sign up now and join the over 13 million all-time customers who've already saved and invested over $22 billion. That's right, $22 billion with Acorns. So head on over to acorns.com/booster. That's acorns.com/booster, or download the Acorns app to get started today. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 1 compensation provided. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/booster. All right.
Rolling through it.
It is the time for the Punt and to Go.
Hey, those phone lines are going to open in 14 minutes. Get those calls in. The number is either on the screen right now or they're going to put it on there now that I've said that. But before that, let's get to Punt or Go, our debate segment. We're going to make a statement. The other guys can affirm that statement by going for it, or guess what? They can reject it by punting it. We're going to start off with the Pro Bowl. Flaming Dragon, would you like to kick us off?
I would.
I think that means yes.
Guys, the Pro Bowl
That's
sucks right now. You know, it's just after getting worse and worse every year. So I'm going to start my Punt or Go. Jake, I'm actually going to kick it to you first. All right, you ready?
Okay. I'm receiving.
Look at me. Don't ever look at me again.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, the Pro Bowl festivities should be eliminated. You punting or you going?
Yeah, I'm going. They're down to their 9th alternate. Once you get down to that, nobody wants to play in this anymore. I made the Pro Bowl. Found out yesterday. It's incredible. This is a waste of time. You've already taken the game away. I mean, the days of Sean Taylor knocking the punter upside down, those are done. Nobody wants to play in the Pro Bowl anymore. And to be honest with you, I really don't blame them. So get rid of the whole thing. Just make it an award. Or don't make it an award and just do, I don't know, an all-pro team and leave it at that. Nobody wants to do it. I don't care how much flag football or how many times Justin Jefferson can catch a ball and land on a table. Nobody's wanting to see that anymore. It's lame and it sucks. It's like the South Park situation with Star Wars. They've made it lame and it's terrible. So get rid of it. I'm tired. How does Drake May make the Pro Bowl?
What did J.J. Watt say about this?
J.J. Watt, I think he agrees with me. It's an absolute embarrassment. You had 15 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Congrats, you made the Pro Bowl. I walked out. I took my trash out the other day because it was Thursday. Should I make the Pro Bowl because of that? We got to move on for this. Just make it an award or get rid of it and just do an all-pro. Everybody hates it and it's lame.
All right, David, you mountain of a man. The Pro Bowl festivities should be eliminated. Are you punting? Are you going?
No, they shouldn't be eliminated. They should be made great again. Some of my earliest memories watching the NFL are how great the Pro Bowl was. I remember watching Dan Marino in the skills competition. Forget the game. No one wants to play in the game, I guess. That's sad enough. I remember watching Dan Marino in the skills competition hitting a golf cart with a bullseye on it. So my dad took our golf cart and spray painted a thing where I could practice throwing to it. Some of my earliest memories. Can we at least do that again? I thought once they said, okay, the guys don't want to play in the game, they don't want to be men anymore, and they took the game away, what is there to opt out of? Like, what, are they just not going on the trip? Like, Drake May doesn't automatically become a Pro Bowler just because Josh Allen doesn't want to go. I don't understand any of this. If they're not going to make it great again, then I agree with Jake. Just get rid of it, and it's an award that you get voted on, and they say you're a Pro Bowler. But for God's sakes, can we try to make it great again?
Yeah. Point of order. Point of
privilege.
I've got a point of privilege.
Yeah.
I'm going to check my
your privilege.
Oh, it's checked. What if we did this? Well, I think there's a couple things we could do to replace it. What if instead of the Pro Bowl, we had the Amateur Bowl, and you took all the best players off the practice squads that don't get to play, and they get to play in that game together? Or I always love watching the Rising Stars game in Major League Baseball, or the rookies game, or the Rising Stars game in the NBA. Why don't you just take all the best young players and throw them out there and let them actually play the game? Because if you're not going to do that, none of this works anymore. I wish we lived in a world, Cone, where they'd be like, you know what? yeah, that's right. We're going to go back to playing it, and we're going to tackle. I remember when Peyton Manning was talking trash about Mike Vanderjagt on the sidelines of the Pro Bowl. Like, there's some really cool memories that happened from it.
I mean, the Sean Taylor, what you talking about, the Sean Taylor hit?
The Sean Taylor hit
one of the most
punter.
Famous moments in Pro Bowl history.
We'll never get that back.
Y'all don't enjoy the dodgeball?
No.
Enjoy the dodgeball segment?
They play dodgeball now? Clearly, I hadn't watched it.
Yeah,
Clearly, I hadn't been tuning in.
Exactly. That's a microcosm.
All right, next one up here. Guys, word on the street is Jaxson Dart is climbing up the NFL draft boards. And when I say word on the street, obviously just anyone who wants to put something out there. Maybe it was just me who put it out there, but I'll never tell. But I do think a worthy conversation needs to be had about Jaxson Dart with the numbers that he put up at Ole Miss. Ole Miss's all-time passing yards leader. He played for Lane Kiffin in a pro-style offense. I think the guy's going to be a good pro. The question is, though, because I was seeing this going around, that Jaxson Dart should be quarterback 2 in this class, right behind Cam Ward, which means he would get drafted ahead of Shedeur Sanders. My statement is, taking Jaxson Dart before Shedeur Sanders in this NFL draft class would be a mistake. Punter, go.
I'm 100% going. That's the truth. And again, I like Jaxson Dart. I don't think he's going to be able to run as effectively as what he did in college, which I was impressed he was able to line up and run Q power and some of the things that Lane did with him in the true run game. That's not going to work in the NFL. He's not going to be able to escape as easily. But it comes down to accuracy, throwing ability, and nuance. Does Shedeur hold the ball a little bit too long sometimes? Yes, but that can be fixed. All right, it's amazing how many times you get hit in the face by an NFL player that can fix you getting rid of the ball. But when it comes down to throwing ability, and even I think escapability in the league, you've got to go with Shedeur Sanders. You have to, for 2 reasons. 1, because he's the better player. I think he's a better NFL player from a potential standpoint. And 2, if you do pick Jaxson Dart before Shedeur Sanders, and Jaxson Dart is even a good player, if Shedeur ends up being a rock star, you are going to look like the dumbest person that has ever stepped foot in the front office. It's Cam Ward, it's Shedeur, and then it's Big Gap, everybody else. And then we can start talking about Jaxson Dart. I don't know how well Jaxson Dart's game translates to the NFL, to be honest with you.
All right, nicely put, Flaming Dragon. Jaxson Dart, the last 2 seasons, has thrown for more yards than Shedeur Sanders on fewer pass attempts, but Shedeur, higher completion percentage and more touchdowns. Taking Jaxson Dart before Shedeur Sanders would be a mistake. Punter, go.
Punt. I would punt this. I don't think there's a drastic difference between these players. I really don't think there's enough to be worried about what the second or the third quarterback is going to get taken. I like Jaxson Dart's game. I think Jaxson Dart's going to translate well into the NFL. I'm not going to say he's going to come out there and be a true dual-threat quarterback, but I think Jaxson Dart obviously has more mobility than Shedeur Sanders. He throws a beautiful ball. I think from a feel and reading coverage standpoint, Jaxson Dart is right there with Shedeur Sanders. There's not a massive difference between these guys. I just think the massive difference is, 1, Colorado had better receivers than Ole Miss throughout the year. Horn Jr. and Travis Hunter, I'd put those 2 up against anybody. And Ole Miss's number 1 receiver is basically hurt throughout the entire year. 2, I think Shedeur is a very good player, but I think he gets hyped up even more because his dad's Deion Sanders. I really do. There's not a drastic difference between these guys. I don't think it'd be a mistake if you took Jaxson Dart second above Shedeur Sanders because the way they play is somewhat the same, and I think they both throw extremely pretty ball, short, deep, long, whatever you want to do. And I think that it would be better if Jaxson walks in with coming off a Lane Kiffin offense, but it's extremely complicated, being well and more in tune with an NFL offense when he gets in.
Watching the success that Bo Nix had in year 1 with the Broncos, are there any of these teams in the top 10 that you think should take a chance on Jaxson Dart and he could have success there?
With the top 10 pick, I'm a little bit hesitant there. In the first round overall, I think Jaxson Dart, again, like I said, is in that second tier of guys you really need to look at. Because, again, this draft class isn't loaded. But, Flaming Dragon, you bring up the point about the wide receivers, and I guess you could say with Colorado that they were better overall. I know that Harris was hurt, but you had Caden Lee, some other guys, Priest Corn at tight end, is a really good player. But look at the offensive line difference. I mean, Shedeur was still running for his life. I think he had the highest pressure rate of any quarterback in college football. I'd rather have average wide receivers and a good offensive line than an average offensive line and good wide receivers.
You also said that Shedeur holds the ball way too long.
And again, so 2 things can be true at once. 2 things can be true at once. But I would also I feel like you can fix that, getting rid of the ball, as opposed to just the offensive line being terrible.
And also what fixes escapability, and that's what Jaxson Dart has.
Well, I think Shadeur's got escapability. I think they both run. They just do it in different ways.
You think Jackson's a better runner, though, right?
I think he runs a different way. He's a heavier runner, I think, than Shedeur.
It's not about more or less pay. Your pay is just different, okay?
Yeah, well, I think Shedeur wanted to stay in the pocket longer. I think Shedeur wanted to be a passer more than a one read and then I'm gone. And Jaxson Dart, but Jaxson Dart had to do that sometimes. I'm not saying he shouldn't.
Would you take? Let me ask you this. I was supposed to do this quickly. Would you have taken Jaxson Dart or J.J. McCarthy?
Last year,
both in this draft.
Oh, why are you gonna ask me that, man? Why are you gonna put me in that?
Honestly, I would have taken Jaxson Dart.
You're taking Jaxson Dart.
But I would take Shedeur over J.J. McCarthy in a heartbeat.
Man, give me the national champ.
Yeah, surprise.
Shocked. Please don't let me down, J.J.
Yeah, color me shocked.
No, on a serious note, I think Jaxson Dart could be a better pro, though.
Yeah.
Than J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, I hope he can. I like Jackson.
Vegas lost money in December. Yeah, if I need to say that again, I will. Can you set this one up for us?
Yeah, so in December, and I'm talking from an NFL standpoint, it was the first time in an NFL regular season in a long time that there was a net loss from the sports books to the bettors. They lost like $2.1 million in December for a regular season, right? I'm not talking playoffs, I'm talking regular season. So my statement, and I'll start with Flaming Dragon first, is Vegas losing money in football is the new normal. Punt or go?
Punt. Punt. Let me tell y'all right now. Whatever precogs or 2 11-year-olds they have locked in some basement who can see the future, right now, they're baiting you. Like, they're baiting you. They've spent a month baiting you. It's like, look, God, we can beat these guys. All right, we can beat these guys. And now they got what? Now you believe. Now you believe, and you're looking at the book, right? You're looking at the book. You're going through them. Lock of the century. I'm putting everything on it. You're just a fish in water, and they're ready to set that hook, buddy. I'm telling you, it's impossible to beat these guys. They have the algorithm, the formulas, passion. They have the numbers. They have 2 kids locked up from the 1800s who can see the future. Like, there's no beating these people. Take your small wins, all right? You take your small wins, and you go off for a little bit, then you come back. It's like people who break into a car. Trust me, they've done it to my car plenty of times. They break into your car, then they disappear for 8 months, and then they come back and do it again.
And then they use your Chick-fil-A gift card.
And they smoke Marlboro Pall Malls in your car.
Yeah, somebody stole.
Do not fall into this trap.
Somebody stole Flaming Dragon's car, and he got it back. And the thing he was the most pissed about was that they used his Chick-fil-A gift card.
They used my Chick-fil-A gift card. I get pretty upset about this. They used my Chick-fil-A gift card. They used my Taco Bell gift card. All in one day.
How many gift cards you got,
and smoked marbles in my car.
Yeah, that's a life sentence.
Enjoy prison.
Tony, quickly, to put a little more context on this before we get your answer, it's only the 13th losing month on football bets during the regular season in the state's history in Nevada, and the largest net loss on football since November 2012 when they lost $5.3 million on bets on the NFL and college football, because we are talking about Nevada. So Vegas losing money in football betting is the new normal. Punt or go.
Better get ready for the 14th month of a loss, because I'm going for this thing, baby. I'm 3-1 the last 2 days. Let's don't look at the month as a whole right now. But yeah, I think once we get to our betting segment, it's no coincidence to me that, we start a sports show and we start taking bets and all of a sudden Vegas starts losing money. I think maybe people out there are trailing Crain and Company. And that's really all that I have to say about it.
Wow. I love that's a hell of an angle to take.
I love it. But let me answer quickly before we get to the next one. How many months in a row would Vegas have to lose before there's some turnover? Like, guys start meeting out in the cornfield with baseball bats.
Yeah, they'll get around to it like 21-77.
Yeah.
By that time, it would finally have broken even, probably.
Very true, very true. All right, what do we got next?
All right, next one up here. I want to talk about John Calipari.
Oh, please.
Going back to Lexington, Kentucky for the first time since leaving to be the head basketball coach at Arkansas. It's not going great so far in Arkansas, but I saw this going around. Rick Pitino, who coached at Kentucky and then returned to Kentucky as the head coach of Louisville, which is their rival, and it was kind of a hostile greeting. He said that Kentucky fans should give John Calipari a standing ovation. So, do you think Kentucky fans should give John Calipari a warm welcome this weekend? Punt or go?
Yeah, punt. Hell no. You didn't just leave Kentucky. And there are some things we can talk about, you not getting every ounce of juice out of the Kentucky job. You didn't leave Kentucky to go coach at Utah or the NBA or even the WNBA. You went to another program in the same conference. You're the head coach of another team in the same conference, coming back to where you were, that you left, which Mitch Barnhart's looking pretty smart not having to pay that buyout right now. You boo this man. Whether it's Seth Greenberg, whether it's Rick Pitino, people need to stop telling Kentucky fans how they need to behave, all right? Y'all got to where y'all were because of passion and hate Boo this man. He is your Judas. Boo him. He left you on the stoop, went out for milk, and never came back. And then you find out he's living 2 suburbs down with Becky, who's got 3 teeth and a meth problem. So at the end of the day, you boo this man when he shows up. There is no standing ovations. You get a chance to bury him. You bury him. It's in the past. Shout out Mark Pope.
Judas?
That's right. I said it.
Judas?
A warm welcome for John Calipari. Punter, go.
I'm going, man. 15 years. 15 years this man gave himself to that program. To that program. Can we wake up and not be assholes today? Or tomorrow, whenever this game is? Won you a national championship. You know, he brought some top-tier talent in. I mean, you can be upset about the way he left, all right? I understand that. And saying that he went to another, it's Arkansas, guys. How upset are we he went to Arkansas?
Ooh.
But he did a lot to the program, all right? He helped y'all a lot, just like y'all helped him. Have some class. Class. It's time for Kentucky fans to have some class, and this is your opportunity. Give this man a standing ovation, and then you can say whatever you want to him during the game.
This guy.
Whatever you want to him during the game, but I do think Cal, you know, he gave a lot to coach there too, so I don't think having a standing ovation would be terrible.
Razorbacks 1-6.
And they're 15th in the SEC. All right, he's getting
1-6.
enough.
Oh, there's never been a better time to boo him.
He's getting enough.
You
right
kick him when he's down. Wait, you know, this blows my mind. Kentucky was Kentucky way before John Calipari. I can make the argument that Kentucky was the only reason that Coach Cal got a natty. Anthony Davis, all just the talent that gets pumped into Kentucky. And Calipari's a really good recruiter, but that's about it. And that's what you're seeing. So at the end of the day, I think Kentucky did way more for Coach Cal than Coach Cal did for Kentucky.
All right, last one here. Let's bring up this new Bud Light commercial. Obviously, we've seen these commercials going around with Shane Gillis, with Peyton Manning's in this one, with Post Malone. We're not that far removed, a year and a half or so from the Dylan Mulvaney fiasco with Bud Light. So I just wanted to play this and see, do you guys think that Bud Light is getting back to its original roots, or is this a situation of people don't forget?
Let's play it.
You gonna go fishing tomorrow?
I got a colonoscopy tomorrow.
Fellas, I accidentally threw a lame party.
Okay, Ted.
They're on their way.
They're here. You call this a party?
Cul-de-sac party.
Launch. Beers are a metaphor for an invitation.
Is that our leaf blower?
Party at the sack.
You are cordially invited to the end of the cul-de-sac.
This is incredible.
Your mower smokes meat?
Oh, a smoker cuts grass.
Hell yeah.
I spent most of my money on this.
New rig, fully custom. How many Bud Lights can you fit in that puppy?
As many Bud Lights as it takes.
A lot of Bud Lights. This cul-de-sac's popping.
Bill, get off the boat. The HOA's already breathing down my neck.
All right, Bud Light will recover from the Dylan Mulvaney disaster. Punter, go.
Funny commercial. Shane Gillis, funny guy. Post Malone, I don't have any problems. Peyton Manning, love it. But punt, they'll never fully recover. You can get back some of it, right? You can maybe almost get back to where you were, but you'll never reach your full potential of what you could have done, because every time I drink a Bud Light, I see this. I see this guy.
Baltimore.
Wearing pearls.
Do most people see that?
I think most people still, if I go and if I'm at a sports bar or I'm anywhere, I'm still apprehensive. And I drank Bud Light for this. That was my beer of choice. I'm still apprehensive. I look around, right? It's almost like I'm like robbing the bank and seeing how many people are in there before I tell the teller, put all the money in the bag and don't get loud. Like it just... I don't know if you'll ever get over that. And people, I think some people stopped drinking it, found another beer they liked, and they're just not going to go back, regardless of how funny Shane Gillis is. I think he's really funny. Like I said, the only way I think Bud Light could have saved themselves is right after this happened, they had to shoot a commercial and call it Zero Dark Thirsty and have the guy who killed Bin Laden drinking a Bud Light after
and apologize.
An
apology would have gone a long way.
I still see this. Every time I drink a Bud Light, I don't want to think I'm kissing Dylan Mulvaney.
I wasn't drinking Bud Light anyway. I'll never drink it again. I think your true colors showed and you just got caught, but I wasn't drinking it anyway. So it means nothing to them that I'm not going to drink Bud Light. You used to drink Bud Light. What do you think?
Now, I think what they're doing for the commercials, I get it. I don't think they're ever going to recover. it's one of those situations where it just feels like someone got cheated on and then they spend the rest of their life trying to make up to that person.
Yeah, and you can never really trust them.
You can never
again.
really make it up. It's never going to be what it was. I'm sorry, in the words of Jonah Hill, people don't forget.
Yeah.
Like, they do not forget. I get what they're doing. They're trying to target the younger crowd. I mean, that's what they're doing. It's just understandable. But guys like us, guys our age, we remember like what they did to me. You'll never come back from that. Like, you'll never.
What they did to you. Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're out in Sandals, Jamaica.
Yep, I'm
right
out one
there.
day.
You're a big Bud Light guy.
The control room is on one today.
Can I sue for
No,
this?
you can't. Don't say that.
Let me call my lawyer after we get off the show.
Yeah, sure. I can't wait for you to call Vic. All right, see what he can get done.
Last one here before we go to the Booster Club and then get to call-ins. Get those calls in. Those phone lines are open. The number's on the screen. And this wasn't scheduled, but I do want to get your thoughts on this. Liam Cohen's introductory press conference for the Jaguars when he came out and said Duval. I need your thoughts on it. Please play this if we have it.
God, this is like, let's get it over with.
Jacksonville, the community. Duval.
Right.
Oh, God, stop.
That's nails on a chalkboard. Stop.
It's off to a bad start, punter. Go.
I'm going to have to go. This just only increases you having to win even bigger sooner. Because, look, I get trying to embrace the culture, man. I get it. Brian Kelly had a fake Southern accent in a basketball game. Coaches do this. But that one's bad. That one's bad. I just kept thinking about J-Rock from Trailer Park Boys. A to the R to the OC. Huh, son? Like, Liam, dude, say Duval. Like, you do the head movement too? Like, who are you trying to trick? Like, who are you trying to you're trying to make me think you grew up in the streets? Or like, this is like, you just got done freestyling against, somebody at the shelter with you and Eminem? Just be yourself, man. And you know what? I guess maybe if quirky and goofy is it, then you got to stay with it. But if you don't win, they're going to bury you on that one. This is your first head coaching job in the NFL. The first one. And you go up there and hit them with Jack City of Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Oh, like the way you look.
Someone clip that, please.
Oh, you're from Rhode Island.
Yeah, dog. Yeah. You went to Cranbrook.
Anybody but there. Like, either that, like, if you're from Rhode Island or, I don't know, somewhere, I don't know if there's a wider place.
Will he win?
No.
He's not going to win?
At the Jaguars?
And
he said Moses down there. He can only win 3.
Take him more than 40 years.
But I will understand, as cringy as that was, that is ultimate cringe. I mean, it's hard to even look. If that's who you are, then be that guy.
Yeah, we make Jim Harbaugh's quirky and goofy, and we laugh about him and do all that stuff.
But his is funny. His is like funny, goofy. Like,
yeah.
Ha, ha, ha. That's like, I'm watching you eat dinner.
Yeah, it's
type of creepy, which
is
not great.
Good job, boys.
It is kind of weird.
Stuff.
All right, before we get to the phone lines and then back to the Booster Club in the poll and then bets, actually, want to tell you about our friends over at Black Rifle Coffee. A lot of y'all drink coffee out there. If you're not making it Black Rifle, you need to make an adjustment. All right, you're either evolving or dissolving. And not only do they have a really great assortment of light roast, dark roast, everything in between, they got espresso. I mean, we're talking silencer, smooth, gunship, power llama. With a portion of every purchase that you make goes to help those who are first responders, and it supports our veterans. Your money goes a long way toward giving back to those who serve us, and we need them now more than ever. So head to blackriflecoffee.com.
Yeah.
Use our code DailyWire, all one word, for 20% off America's coffee. It's blackriflecoffee.com. Use that code DailyWire. Coney, which flavor are you drinking? You said Silencer Smooth is yours right now?
Yeah, Silencer Smooth and Lava Panther's always a good one.
Lava Panther.
Yeah.
Dude, the names are just awesome.
Yeah. Electric Eagle Espresso. I've run through a couple this month.
Get you going. That's blackriflecoffee.com. Use code DailyWire. All right, I'm going to walk over to the bets board as Flaming Dragon talks about the chat.
All right, Chad, let's go to a $5 donation from Bravo Boy. Appreciate it. I hate John Calipari for every bone in my body. I do not want to even see him walk back into our arena. That man took Kentucky sports back 10 years.
Wow.
Tell you, we always said it, man. He did less with more. We're talking about the Chiefs doing more with less. I mean, Cal did less with more.
Let's go to a $3 donation from Philip W. Appreciate it. Says, guys, I'm on the understanding that if John Calipari walks in the stadium, everybody is going to boo this man, and it's even funnier since Arkansas is terrible.
But isn't that right? But like, if it's me and I'm Coach Cal, I don't want you out here begging for sympathy for me. I don't need Rick Pitino saying, please, guys, be nice to him. Please don't pick on him. It's like the lady who used to drop her kid off at school and just give him 14 kisses and tell everybody to treat him nice. That guy got bullied 10 times as hard, and he's better for it.
Let's go to the old one. What's up, dude? Says, guys, I don't think it's a crazy take if you want to take Jaxson Dart over Shedeur Sanders. If you go back and watch Jackson this year, he did a lot of good things that will help him in the NFL.
All right, here we go. Bets for today. Going to go Purdue, Indiana, over 145.5. That's at minus 120. That's going to be a big game tonight in the Big Ten. Then Arkansas, Kent State, over 143.5. That's going off at minus 112. A little bit of hate there. Akron and Kent, been up there, played both of them. But Coney, good night from you last night. See if you can keep it up.
Yeah, no doubt. Georgia Southern covering for me. I'm going to go hockey tonight, actually. Give me the Sabres money line at home, minus 110. Sorry, Preds. I'll make it up to you later in the season. Then go ahead and give me the Stars money line as well, minus 165.
All right, let's bring up my bets. Not a great day yesterday. We're going to put that in the past. Purdue, minus 11, going off at minus 120. Who are they playing? Indiana. And Indiana is absolutely cheek water this year. Then give me the under in Indiana, Purdue, going off at 145.5, going at minus 110.
All right, Ace, what do you got? He's going to take Indiana plus 12.5.
So he has the exact opposite.
The exact opposite. And then he's going to take the over of Purdue, Indiana at 146.5. Somebody's going to be smiling. Somebody's going to be upset. All right, before we get to calls quickly, you got the poll on Punt or Go?
Yeah.
Let's go over that real quick.
Who won Punt or Go? Blaine, Jake, or David? David coming in with a sturdy 28%. Congratulations to you. Blaine, 34%. That boy Jake coming in at 38%.
38.
Big W for
pretty excited about that.
Today.
I don't know, man. Yeah, do better.
Right.
Got to do better. All right. Duval. I wonder if anyone from Duval is going to call in.
Please don't.
First up on the Hot Take Hotline today, Angelo in Pennsylvania. You got 60 seconds, brother. What's your hot take?
How's it going, fellas? This normally wouldn't be a hot take, I wouldn't think, but I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm somewhat near the Philly area, but I did grow up a Dallas Cowboy fan. That's a conversation for a different day. But you cannot believe, and it's not just Cowboys fans I've talked to, it's been Giants fans, it's been Pittsburgh Steelers fans, Jets fans. How many of these Eagles fans think that we owe it to them to root for them? They're our biggest rival, and they think because the Chiefs are some evil empire and they have Taylor Swift that I owe anything to them to root for them. I know there's cases where you can root for your rival, but I don't think this is one of them.
Well, yeah, and Angelo, that's what we opened the show with the other day. Like, there's like 90% of teams in the league, everybody would coalesce around them against the Chiefs. I just think the Eagles are like one of the two teams or two of the three teams people just aren't going to line up for. They just don't like you.
Oh, is he gone?
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
nobody like Eagles fans should expect nothing.
Yeah.
Like the way you treat other fans.
And you know what? Embrace
you should
it,
expect
though.
nothing.
Yeah. Embrace it, though.
You should expect
and I don't think they are. I don't think they are expecting that.
No, I'd be surprised.
All right, that line's open. Let's get a caller on it. We're going to go to Jonathan in North Carolina. Jonathan, what's your hot take?
Hot take. What's going on, boys?
What up?
Yes! That's the energy I'm talking about.
Jake, congrats again with the little one.
Thanks, dog.
And what's going on, David?
What's up, buddy?
My hot take is them Blue Devils are going to demolish those tar whores. Are about to get destroyed.
Ooh. Give me a score.
Score?
Yeah.
I would say 80 to. I'll be nice. 80 to like 65.
Hey, Jonathan, would North Carolina, you're obviously tapped in, would North Carolina fire Hubert Davis if it just keeps going downhill like this? Like this year?
That's a toughie.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a toughie. He went to the Final Four a couple of years back. I think they went to the championship a couple of years back.
Yeah.
So that's a tough. I know they're missing a center, and if they don't get one, then probably yes. But I think that's probably the difference between us is we can actually recruit, and they can't.
Yeah.
And see you, Jake and Blaine, in San Antonio.
Yeah,
let's do it,
buddy. Yeah, man. I guess Armando Baycott couldn't have came back for his 11th year.
Yeah.
Right now, that game's at minus 13.5. Duke has a 90% chance to win that game. The over/under's at 1.
Look, rivalries can be weird, though.
North Carolina.
They can be weird. There's so many good college basketball games this weekend.
Money line bet plus 700.
Plus 700, and this one is I think it's at
it's
Cameron.
at Duke. It's in Cameron Indoor.
All right, let's move on to James in Colorado. James, what's your hot take?
Fair winds and following seas, boys, on a Flamin' Dragon Friday.
What is up?
I want to say I think Philly's the better team, but I think KC's going to win the bowl. They just have momentum and experience.
We agree there.
I think it's a 27-21 win.
Ooh, okay.
My hot take today is I think Crain & Co. is the best sports show on planet Earth.
Not a hot take.
My only regret isn't not watching you guys sooner, but I wanted to say I love the live streams and appreciate you guys even doing a 2-a-day.
Of course,
and,
bro.
My quick question is circling to the NBA, if you guys will indulge me, is I was curious if you heard Shaquille O'Neal talking about Jimmy Buckets Butler dropping on his team and quitting, and that he was defending him, and I just wanted your thoughts on that. Stay classy, boys. Love you.
Hey, appreciate it, brother. That's what a great call. One of my favorite calls ever right there, and you're exactly right. Shaq basically defended Jimmy Butler. Him and Charles kind of got into it a little bit about, well, if you don't want me, then I'm not going to play for you. Like, my whole thing is like, listen, if deep down you're not happy with your situation, that's one thing. But you signed a contract, man. Mm-hmm. You're not better than me. You're not better than a plumber. You're not better than somebody who has to show up and go to work every day, regardless of the circumstances they're under. I just think that's one of the problems with the NBA. And Shaq defending it, I don't know if they were doing it for clicks. I didn't think it was a great look for Shaq. Shaq owns like all these franchise restaurants. What if some of your people started to say, you know what? Yeah, I'm under contract for 3 years, but I'm just not going to go to work today. And there's nothing you could do about it because I think I deserve better. Like, that's the problem with the NBA. They think they are so much better, the stars do, than everybody else, that they live by a different set of rules, that they live in fantasy land. And I think that's one of the reasons we're seeing the downfall of a decent amount of professionals.
I think Jimmy Butler is damaging his legacy there in Miami. And yeah, you're the best player on that team now, but that franchise was winning before you got there.
And this isn't Jimmy Bucket's first, snafu when it comes to stuff like this. Go back to the 76ers days. I mean, every other week I felt like I was hearing something about what Jimmy Butler did, Jimmy Butler this, Jimmy Butler that. But sooner or later, man, you got to grow up and just live your life.
All right, boys, the lines are rolling. Let's get to Thad in Kansas. Thad, what's your hot take?
Howdy, David. What it do, Jake? Welcome back, Dragon. First of all, thanks for the Fit Bod Booster Club coupon. Appreciate it.
No problem. Get fit.
Oh, yeah. About to get my lady baller on the basketball court. So, 2 hot takes. Cam Newton only said he'd rather get the MVP over a Super Bowl because he didn't win a Super Bowl. So he doesn't know what that victory feels like. And then the second, agree with you guys about getting rid of the Pro Bowl, make up the Mr. Irrelevant Bowl, where you've got 2 of the worst teams come together, duke it out for the number 1 draft pick.
I actually, Thad, that's actually a pretty cool idea. It would, would it kind of curtail a little bit of tanking because you still have to win a game? As far as the Mr. Irrelevant Bowl, I love that too. Is there a way that we could find the worst players? Like, is it, what the grading scale, whether it's PFF or somebody, we could just take like the 44 worst players and put them on 2 teams?
I'd rather see the mascots play the kids.
Hold on, I'm thinking about this now because if you're like, let's say you're the quarterback of the team that's playing in that game and the winner gets the first round pick, are you going to like try and not play good so your team doesn't get the overall number 1 surefire prospect that's going to replace you and take your job? There's a lot of variables there.
That is, but it's I haven't thought about that. I like that.
They need to fix it somehow. Something
needs to change.
Wow. Good call. Good idea. All right, let's go to Tyler in Oregon. Tyler, what's your hot take?
Hey, guys. My hot take is that the entire Buffalo Bills coaching staff needs to be fired and sued for malpractice. Okay, you keep trying to run a sneak to the left guard every time. Romo calls it on broadcast. Is no one in Buffalo watching TV and just texting McDermott, hey, run something else? When you're on defense, you run one spy play against Mahomes and it works and you never go back to it again. That's bad defense. you're running man coverage and allowing 5 yards of separation. That's bad defense. Dalton Kincaid, this is on the receivers coach. He can't catch. He should have caught that last one. And I don't want to hear, oh, it was hard. Back in my day, if it hit you in the hands, it was catchable, and that's on you. Get off my lawn. In terms of like who you're going to replace, go get Gruden. Okay, embrace the cold, embrace the crazy. Okay, utilize Cook more in the run game in the playoffs. But McDermott is the reverse Reed Mahomes. He is carried by the talent of his quarterback, and unlike the other way around. So McDermott and Buffalo, I'll see you in court.
First off, Tyler. First off, that's how you bring the juice on a Friday. Wow. Second off, I said I think they need to part ways with McDermott. I agree with you on that. There was some malpractice things. Joe Brady not having James Cook in early on that last drive, I still think is one of the craziest and dumbest coaching personnel mistakes I've ever seen, and you're totally just numb to the moment and who was cooking. But, man, I'm with you. Bring in Gruden. Bring him in.
Why?
To change the narrative.
He's 1-5.
So we can have some fun.
He's 1-5.
Can I have some fun watching this man coach football?
He's 1-5. And I love Gruden.
When Sean McDermott is like Mr. Coach Klein whenever he sees Andy Reid across the sideline, right? He gets scared. He gets nervous, right? When John Gruden looks at him, he's like the new Mr. Coach Klein. He sees a puppy. Or a little baby.
Was he like that when they played 6 times before that?
He was just getting started with the Raiders. Andy Reid was already established with KC.
He didn't have Josh Allen.
All right. Stop it. Let's go to Matthew in Arkansas. Matthew, what's your hot take?
Matt?
What is up, y'all? It is the Heartbroken Hog here. And I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on something I don't think is being discussed enough from the Bills and Chiefs game last week. Just like our last caller, everyone's calling for Sean McDermott's job, but no one's talking about his boss, Brandon Beane, the GM, who has made 2 awful draft day trades the last few years where he's basically been outfoxed by Brett Veach. First, in 2022, the Bills and Chiefs both go in needing a cornerback. The Chiefs trade ahead of the Bills and take Trent McDuffie, one of the top 5 corners in football. The Bills panicked and traded up and take Kaiir Elam, who has been a liability and was a disaster against Kansas City in that game. The second trade was just this past draft in 24 when the Bills and the Chiefs both go in needing a wide receiver.
I know where he's going. He's going with Xavier Worthy.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, Matthew.
Great call, Matt.
Look, Matt, here's what I'll say. When it comes to personnel stuff, look, my dad told Zach Thomas he was too small to play linebacker. You're going to miss, right, on one or maybe even a couple. But it's starting to stack up for the Bills. But it's not even that. Look at the Bills roster. Who's ever in charge of constructing this roster, and I put Sean McDermott in this too. He's got a scouting pass with the Philadelphia Eagles, actually. You're not doing a good job. And I understand there's injuries sometimes that happen, but you are blowing the window you are in because you have not supplemented Josh Allen with what he needs on offense and then on defense. And some people make no correlation between the defense and the quarterback. Look at the Chiefs. How many games have they won with defense? A great defense is a quarterback's best friend. Coney, you can speak to that as good as anybody.
I can speak to that, man. The number 1 defense in the state carried us, but that's a whole different thing. Let's get to Matt in Kansas. Matt, what's going on, man? What's your hot take?
Hey, guys. What's going on?
What up?
First, Jake, congrats on the baby girl. Welcome
Thanks, buddy.
to the club.
Oh, yeah.
My hot take is barring injury to Acuna, as long as we can get him back at least 80% of the season, and we get a full recovery from Quadzilla, the Atlanta Braves will be the 2025 World Series champions.
We won it without him, though.
Here's what I'll say. I want Acuna to stay healthy. I understand they won it without him. I like the Profar signing too, and I'm falling in love again. I do this every offseason, and it's getting about that time. You can start to smell spring training a little bit. I'm starting to look around. I like what I'm seeing from the Braves. I'm with you, dog. I'm going to ride with them. If it's not going to be the Braves, though, I hope it's the Reds. That's all I'm going to say.
That's your new second team, huh?
That's my second team.
Okay.
Actually, I've never really had a second team. They're my first second team.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
All right. I love it. Thanks for the call, man. Let's go to Josh in Boise, Idaho. Josh, what's your hot take?
Boise.
Hey, boys. Got a quick question and then a hot take. Have you guys watched Coach Prime Season 3 yet? I just got done with Episode 1. You guys are in it.
Yeah.
They actually use you as criticism against Shiloh and Shador for going to that thing in Paris. I didn't know if you guys had seen that yet already.
Yeah, I saw that. And the funny part is, like, at the end of the day in that segment, we're kind of like, look, if you play good, it doesn't matter, But we thought it was, at the time.
Where can I watch it?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it, you guys. And I actually agreed with Cone's take on it. So, Cone, you're the one that they actually use your quote. So,
what did I say? He shouldn't have gone as the quarterback over to Paris to miss camp or something like that?
Yeah, and then Dion was like, wow, I hate that guy. Everybody should hate him.
Did he?
No, he didn't say that.
Say it to my face.
My hot take? My hot take is that Shiloh and Shador are going to be out of the NFL within 5 years. I think they both are going to be busts. My Raiders, please, God, do not pick Shador in Pittsburgh.
Are they going to be out? Because, are they going to be out?
I get.
Yeah, I get.
Shiloh's already getting good.
I think Shadur's going to get a decent amount of chances.
Is he going to be out though because he just goes and does something even bigger and more famous? Like you're one of the few guys and families who can go be even more famous than being an NFL player.
Maybe, but it's a hot take hotline. But I think Shador, it would have for him to be out of the league in 5 years. It would have to be horrible. It would have to just be so blatantly obvious that he's not an NFL player, that nobody would pick him up again.
See, I could see him moving off the first team that drafted him. Like, I could see maybe in a couple of years,
that rookie contract
didn't work out just because your roster's not that great, but whoever's going to take him again is going to blame the team, not the quarterback.
Hey, but that's why we call it the hot take hotline.
I love it.
All right, let's go to Will in New Jersey. Will, what's your hot take?
What's up, boys?
What up, dog?
Can you hear me?
Gotcha, man.
So I am, I'm in New Jersey, but we'll just call it hell for the time being, just because of all these Eagles fans. And they're all coming asking me questions like, oh, you're not going to root for the Chiefs, right? You're not going to root for the Chiefs, right? Gun to your head, you're not going to root for the Chiefs, right? Or you would root for the Eagles, right? And I was like, well, gun to my head, let me get a shovel and dig my own grave. There's no way in hell I am ever going to root for the Philadelphia Eagles, plain and simple.
Yeah, and go ahead.
It's the argument of everybody hates the Eagles unless you're an Eagles fan. All right? Everybody hates the Chiefs because they win so much, but they don't hate the Chiefs as an organization. Right. They hate the Eagles as a fans and organization. That's just what they hate. I wouldn't be surprised to find out a lot of people are cheering for the Chiefs than Philly because they hate Philly that much, just the way Philly is.
I mean, it's hard for me to disagree with that, like we were talking about the other day, but to me, again, I'll say this to all the Eagles fans. Embrace it. Embrace the hate. Use that hate to fuel you. All right? It's Bobby Boucher called it tackling fuel, right? Look, I like me some Vince Papale. Right? It's a cool story, all this other stuff, but I just think a lot of people hate Philadelphia.
Two more here. Let's go to Jan in Lubbock. Jan, what's your hot take?
Hey, boys. First of all, congratulations, Jake.
Thank you.
Reed. And Blaine as well. I'm an aunt, so that's a great job. Just as an uncle is a great job. Okay, quick take. Kansas City, I live in Lubbock. I have no excuse. And then also, I'm as happy about basketball being back as you are about football. So here's my question. I think that basketball coaches are a lot more fun and interesting than the football coaches. I want your take on that. Kelvin Sampson, I love because he reminds me of my dad when you got home late. And then I have to tell you, you Alabama boys, I am absolutely hooked on Alabama and Auburn. Love Bruce Pearl, and I really love my Nate Oates. So what's your guys' opinion on who are the more fun coaches?
Yeah, well, Jan, first off, thanks for calling. Appreciate the kind words. I think that basketball coaches overall are more interesting because first, there's just more of them. There's a lot more teams that you see. There's more opportunities. But, you know, when you're running a football team, there's not saying that basketball is easy, especially in game. There's so much going on and there are so many people involved with football. In basketball, it's like, all right, we got our 13 guys, we got a couple of assistant coaches, and like the head coach, right? Who you see walking up and down, who you see getting that technical foul. There's a lot more technical fouls in college basketball than there are unsportsmanlike conducts against coaches in college football. But I think that they're just such different sports kind of with what you can do and what you can get away with and being able to hire kind of a different array of guys because there's so many different schools. I agree with you. I think basketball coaches are a little bit more interesting.
Thank you, Jan. All right, last caller here. Chris, you're coming to us last on a Flaming Dragon Friday. You're coming to us from Georgia. We need a lot of energy to end the week here. What's your hot take, brother?
What's up, boys? So my hot take is Dan Campbell will bring a Super Bowl to Detroit, but not until I feel like this is pretty evident to me, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. Jared Goff has always been a super talented quarterback. He's always been highly touted, has a ton of arm talent, but he has demonstrated throughout his career he's not able to make the big throws in the big clutch moments when his team needs it. He demonstrated that in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. And then a couple years later, his team moves on, trades, and they win the Super Bowl without him. He demonstrated it last year in the NFC Championship game where they got close, but he just wasn't able to make the throws. And then this year in the divisional game versus Washington, obviously it wasn't, it was most of his defense's fault they lost that game, but he also threw two pretty bad interceptions. Yeah, it was not great.
Don't you think
I think they got to move on from him.
Yeah,
I think this will be the year. The first year without Ben Johnson.
I actually think we're close to maybe to that happening.
I mean, if he plays as well, because he's been playing really well, if he plays as well without Ben Johnson, right, assuming that he doesn't completely fall apart again in the postseason, won't that speak volumes to his growth? But if he regresses in the first year without this awesome offensive coordinator, do you think that'll point a finger at him?
I think it may point a finger at him, a little bit and really show that Ben Johnson may have really been the straw that stirred the drink. But here's what I think about Jared Goff. I think his ceiling is tapped. I think Jared Goff is a good NFL quarterback. But I do not think Jared Goff, especially in the clutch moments when you get down to the nitty-gritty, is good enough to will and throw his team to a Super Bowl. I just don't think so. He's gotten to one, and what I mean by that is if the Lions aren't good defensively, Jared Goff cannot win one. I just don't think he can. Now, if the Lions are really good defensively, I think he possibly could. We can go back to that game against the Patriots in the Super Bowl when you look at the way that team was put together with the defense and Aaron Donald.
He's improved since then.
And he has, but he's a good player. I just don't think he's an elite player.
What quarterback can win without a good defense in the NFL?
Josh Allen.
What has he won?
5 straight AFC East titles.
Has he been to a Super Bowl?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
how good does the defense need to be? I mean,
that's the question.
Jaden Daniels was playing better than anybody. You ran into a team with a good defense. Like I'm saying,
that's what I'm
you
saying.
could be the best quarterback in the NFL, but if your defense is bad, you're not going to make it to a Super Bowl. You're just not going to.
I think the Chiefs did about as much as you could being that offensively heavy. Not that the defense was bad, but they weren't great. I just wonder, with a good defense, is Jared Goff in the playoff, once it gets down to the nitty-gritty, good enough to go win you a Super Bowl? I don't know, but there's not a lot of guys that are. So maybe the argument is there's just not a lot of guys out there that can do it. So you got to stick with this and hope to build around them. And that means on defense, too.
This will be an interesting year.
Maybe that's the answer. All right, let's get to donuts here.
All right, if you donated that, guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Let's go to a $20 donation from the Stag. He says, I bleed red, white, and blue, but American beer is garbage water. I went to the Czech Republic and Hungary. Those Bohemians know how to brew, fellas.
I love America. I love America, but I'm with you, bro. Let's
go to $5 donation from the Briar. He says, Coney, you asked yesterday what Giants fan think of the Super Bowl, rooting for the Chiefs. Can't stand anything Philly.
I just think that's the truth.
$5 donation from Walt. Appreciate it, Walt. Gymnastics season starts tomorrow for my daughter, Charlie. She looks forward to Jake's motivational speeches before the competition. Appreciate it, boys.
Hey, Charlie, look, at the end of the day, you go out there and you flip your little heart out. It's the beginning of the season. Starts out great. Doesn't matter. Keep grinding. Starts out bad. Doesn't matter. Keep grinding. We're rooting for you.
Let's go to a $5 donation from Wildcat. Appreciate it. I hate John Calipari, but love the show, fellas. Kentucky by 30. These guys are chumps.
I'm telling you, that man is going to get... You want to know how bad it's going to be? Rick Pitino had to send out a scout to go look and just try and tell everybody, hey, listen, I know y'all hate this guy, but just please be nice to him for me.
$5 donation from Shocktober. How many lives were lost after Vegas lost almost $2.2 million in a month? Hashtag who knows.
That's what I'm saying. Like you brought up, those 2 chicks with their ponytails tied from Minority Report, they escaped or something.
All right, last donation of the day, $20 donation from HBH. Appreciate it, man. Before y'all answer the question, please ask yourselves, is Patrick Mahomes on the roster? The Chiefs are the all-time 2 defending champs. They just don't have a better rosters. It's one of the best rosters in NFL history.
Well, I think if you look like specifically at quarterback and head coach, right, you can say that. But if you're looking again, that chart we put up, and you're just being honest, right? And I told you, hey, I'm not going to tell you who's won what or whatever. I want you to look at these players in this position group. Tell me which one you would pick. And again, we were 5-5. So it wasn't like it was like 9-1 or like 7-3. So I don't think it's super duper drastic. All right. Well, don't forget, we are going to be live streaming the Super Bowl from Mission Cigar and Social. Obviously, Sunday, February 6th. Make sure you join us. Those are a lot of fun. And then also, any parting shots? Both of you.
Let's win some bets this weekend, fellas.
You want to win some bets this weekend?
Yeah. February 9th.
What did I say? 6th? Sorry, February 9th. I'm not a calendarologist. But also, Locks, Leans, and Dogs, we're going to put them out tomorrow morning so we didn't forget. And I'm also not going to forget. Guess who won Flaming Dragon? Play it. So we put up a goose egg, son. That's a goose egg. Locked in.
I tell you what. Perfect. Y'all need to quit being against me.
No, I love it. Keep doing it.
We need to figure something out.
Keep doing it. Anyway, we appreciate y'all. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And like the chances of us not having a good time celebrating a certain little girl's birthday this weekend. We're going. That's right. Gone. I just get out of here. Friday. I'm not getting pissed on a Friday.